Hello viewers, I'm SB and Baba is... Okay, it's not a great sign. I'm SB and this is Baba Is You. Welcome back to Baba Is You. I'm SB and Baba. Almost always true. I guess not true right now. Let's hope that's not an omen. Welcome back to Baba Is You, where I have solved the puzzle. Can you imagine a way where I would have gotten from the place where we were in yesterday to the solution? I bet almost every single one of you can. I'm going to blame some of this on the fact that yesterday, during the second half of the recording session, stuff had happened. I had a little bit of an emotionally exhausting day by the second half of that recording session. And let me tell you something. When that happens to you, you are just less cognitively present. That's just a thing that's true about human brains. So partially it's that, but partially I think what's going on is that I committed a larger version of the my assumptions are safe error. You know, there's a banner at the top of the YouTube channel page. It says on it, "Failure is instructive." That's a thing I believe very strongly, and I've never had anybody argue with me. Nobody ever says, "No, I don't get, what are you talking about?" It's always, "Oh, okay, yeah, I see where you're coming from." But usually it's understood in a pretty abstract way. Here we have an awesome concrete example of failing in a way that can be learned from. Am I learning from it? I don't know, man. It's definitely an error I've committed more than once during the series. But it's very easy to come into a situation like this, with a puzzle that we've seen before, that we've worked before, and go, you know what, I basically know what's going on here. I'm familiar with this situation. There's no reason for me to examine every little thing on this screen. I know what the deal is. I want to bring this up because everybody in their lives all the time is doing I know what the deal is, and it's so often the case that you maybe don't 100% know what the deal is. So let this be a lesson. If you are the kind of person who posts in YouTube comment sections, it's physically painful to watch this. He don't see thing. I see thing. How come he don't see thing? You commit this error more than people who don't post stuff like that. And I know that because you would have to in order to post something like that. So learn from this, and then go back and delete those comments that you've made, because they suck. That's not a nice thing to do to somebody. And I'm not referring to anything in particular on these videos, by the way. I don't read the comments on these videos, because I suspect that people are telling me solutions, even though I've explicitly asked people not to, because I've been doing this for long enough to know that that happens. People, no matter what you tell people not to post, for the sake of you learning on your own, they will still do it. I assume it's coming from a helpful place. You know, I don't get mad about it or anything, but I just know that it's not safe to read the comments on these until after I've basically finished the game. I went back and I read the comments on a few of the early episodes, because, you know, there's nothing at those points that I could possibly be spoiled on. But I've seen this happen on a lot of other people's puzzle game series, because I do like to watch a Let's Play of a puzzle game, particularly one I've already completed. I think it's just so fascinating to watch people's brains work. That has always been a thing I've been fascinated by. Anyway, what happened here is I didn't look at all the things, and boxes push. We don't have to make key push, because boxes push. If we do the thing like I did it yesterday, we can just push the box into the key. So, let's do that, and then get the hell out of here, right? This is enough time in this puzzle. Bam! Congratulations. We did it. I did it a couple of minutes ago and got our little dandelion puff already, which means we're pretty close to another great big flower, if we can figure this out. I'm not necessarily going to spend a huge amount of time on this one right now. Of course, it is always the case that we can come back to it. So, what did we figure out yesterday? And let's take a moment and examine it and make sure that it's actually as true as we think it is. What we determined yesterday is that there's no way to push the key over to the door the way things are currently set up, because even if you have a thing, like even given the fact that we can sacrifice a Baba to push the key over one additional space so that it can be moved around, doing so causes the other Baba to fall off of the world entirely. My my esophageal thing is acting up a little bit. I apologize. So we either need to figure out a way of desyncing the Baba's columns. We need them to be a different number of columns apart. Or we need to rewrite the rules of this level somehow. Those were the two thoughts that I had yesterday. Let's do that thing where we re-examine and verify that those thoughts I was having were at all reasonable. So the default version, the thing that we did that seemed to be effective so far, seemed to be effective on the normal version of this puzzle, I guess, is maybe a better way to put this, was this thing. We make ourselves a bridge, and then we we can bring Rock's Push down here, but it doesn't give us the clearance that we need to push the key over. So if we could find one more object, we'd be okay, right? Because the issue is Rock is push with the key there, can't be pushed far enough. If I had one more object, I'd be executing the push from this space, and we would get the key to here where it would be pushable, and post-push this Baba would still be alive. So is it possible to manipulate the rocks in such a way that we can have one more object in our push group? No, I don't think it is. I don't think we can do that. Because it would have to... The only other things we have are the rocks, right? And if we don't spend the rocks the way we're spending them, then we can't even get down onto these platforms. Okay. We do have the ability to change the spacing on the Babas. That's a thing we can do. By pushing objects to the edge of the world. But moving this Baba closer to that one while we're on the edge, or doing vice versa, obviously, pushing rocks over here, obviously is pretty bad. It is remarkably unhelpful. If we did this the way we just did this, but with... Well, I was going to say, but without rock being pushed, the rock itself would provide us a floor to stand on to make that work, but we can't actually do that because we need this to say rock is push the whole... I mean, like, okay, if we... This is not going to help. But if we do like this, and then we break that, now I can do it. Now, I mean, no, we're not closer, because I forgot that was going to happen. But I could, oh, you know what, we could kind of do a version of this, right? Like, if I, instead of pushing this over to here, if I pushed it like this... No, what is my plan here? We can't break the phrase rock is push, because if I use the phrase rock is push as the spacer, I can't then break it. Alright, what else can we do with the rocks? We can form a bridge between these two platforms. And then, I mean, does that help? We could use the rocks to push... Like, we can't get rock is flag is win, which would make the level really easy. Because we just don't have enough objects. I mean, there's not even enough... we don't even really have enough objects to get the words over here. In order to get the words over here, we'd have to form a bridge with the rocks, break rock is push the words over, and then we have just enough objects left over... Right, just the words, right? Because the rocks are now in a place where they can't be retrieved. Well, I guess I could retrieve up to one of them. Because we could remake rock is push on this side, and then have this Baba sacrifice himself to shove a rock in. And then we'd be able to, like... If we made, like, is push rock, and we shoved that all the way up, we'd be able to get is flag is win. And then we would just have the word rock, and we could push it as far as this without dying. Rock is key is open is a little bit easier to make in terms of just the number of objects you have to spend to do it. But you have to have already spent... Well, I was about to say you have to have already spent all the rocks to do that, but I guess actually, if we were to just turn a rock... No, turning a rock into the key doesn't do anything. Never mind. I was like, if we could just make the flag, this object, like an object over on this side into the flag, then everything's solved. But turning a rock into a key doesn't do that. It would just mean that now we have a rock that needs to get over here. Yeah, the more I look at this, the more I think we do not have a clever definitional solution. That's a shame. It feels like that's, you know, the kind of thing that Baba Is You often does. Alright. Take a moment and actually look at the rules. Don't look at the puzzle as a puzzle. Don't look at the blocks as objects. Read the list of rules. Maybe this will be a useful thing for us to do when we come into these old puzzles. Because I'll tell you what, if we had done this on the previous one, we would have just solved it yesterday. Alright, Baba is you, key is push. Lonely Baba is defeat. Flag is win, rock is push. Key is open, door is shut, and door has flag. So, the way those rules break down into the actual concerns of the puzzle, by our current reading, is we can only get a flag by pushing the key into the door. Is that actually true? I think so. Unless we can find a way to push rock as flag, right? But I'm relatively certain we've just experimented ourselves through why that definitely doesn't work. And we could spend this rock effectively to go and fetch the key, but that doesn't change our number of objects, and it doesn't help. Like, the key itself is not any more useful than the rock. Lonely Baba is defeat is a Is it possible for us to do... I'm wondering if it's possible for us to do something tricky with, like, stacking a rock on top of a Baba, maybe. Well, I guess we don't really have a good way... Like, if we could put an object on top of Baba, then Baba would not be lonely. And if we could use that to traverse the dark space, like, if we put the Baba... We could move a Baba across without necessarily having all of the objects that we need. No, probably not. I was just thinking, like, if we could, like, make a bridge of rocks that has one of the Babas in it, we could shuttle one of the Babas across the space without spending the number of objects that it looks like we need to do that, but I don't actually... Trying to construct it in my head, I think that's not actually true. We don't have a way of getting a rock on top of a Baba easily anyway, right? Because you'd have to construct a situation where one of them is pushing an object onto the other one, which is going to be difficult for the same reason as adjusting their spacing, right? Because we would have to stack objects against a wall to do it, and then push objects on top of another. That sound you heard, that sharp inhale of air there, was me seeing it, I think. There is an object that we can put on top of a Baba. Actually. I don't know if you guys know this about me. I probably haven't made it very clear. But I don't much like to have multiple bodies. I find it confusing. And maybe it's a little silly how confusing exactly I find it. But it feels a little, you know, sometimes I worry about it. And the way that we've traditionally solved that problem is that we, I'm going to have to restart this. The way that we traditionally solved that problem, right, is that we just collapse the bodies into one. And hopefully everybody just now, saw what my intended solution is here. A Baba on top of a Baba is not lonely. If you only have yourself... Can you really be said to be lonely? Hold on, I accidentally hit the screenshot button while reaching for backspace there. How do it does feel like I need to desync these rocks a little bit. If we can figure out a way to make actually make a bridge of rocks, and then break the phrase rock is push, we can just put the babas on top of each other. What am I doing? I need to push you over here, and then like this is the part where that's difficult, right? I should not have synced the position of these rocks. We are given 3 rocks in different positions, and it's important that they remain in different positions. So we're going to start by breaking the phrase rock is push. We're going to reform it here, get that rock where it needs to be, and then stop touching it. And then it's important that we don't sync the positions of the rocks again. I think this might actually be doable. And then we're going to temporarily break this, it's not a big deal. And then rock is not push. And in order to sync the positions of the babas, this is 1000% doable. Okay, I need to have the 3 words on the same line as the rocks, but the rocks have to not be push at the same time. So actually what we have to do is, and now we can in fact make the babas closer to one another, and I don't think we've actually ever seen this situation before, and I'm not 100% sure that it does work. Yeah, okay, Baba's not lonely. Baba has himself. That's the thing about this solution, is that wherever you are, you always have yourself. I feel pretty good about that, actually. This game's alright. The achievement I just got is called Bird is Float. Have we ever seen a puzzle where bird is float? Now that the game brings that up, that's a really interesting point. We don't really get bird is float, but it seems to it tries to use the qualities in ways that make sense for the objects a lot of the time, right? Like it's always water that is sink. You can roll a big circular rock, but we've never seen a puzzle where the flying bird or the flying bat are float, and that has meaningful impact on the puzzle, I don't think. Huh. Alright, well, I'm a little torn now. In theory, the puzzles on this map are the easiest ones, right? So maybe we should try to complete these before moving back out to the Cloud Flower, which is a place where some of the puzzles are a hot nightmare. But also, it's been a long time since we looked at some of those, and it may well be the case that, as with a lot of these, we can solve some of them more easily now that we know about, Oh, I 100% forgot about this. I thought that was going to take me to the Cloud Flower. But that's right, you get to the Cloud Flower by Baba is win here. Or Baba is you on flag is win. Like we've seen with a lot of these puzzles, some of these we can win easily now because we understand the principle that they were intended to teach us. We came to understand it from some other direction. So the Baba has the victory outline. The rock does not have the victory outline. Also, is it possible to make the water into a level? I don't think so. No, probably not. Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure we didn't finish this, right? It doesn't have the big flower petals. Let's have a look. Let us re-enter the queue. Ah, yes. Okay. So, let's figure this out. We didn't really take a lot of time trying to figure this out. By the way, I wish I was Skull more often. I really like to be Skull. If Arvi is watching this, please, in the next game, please title the next game Skull is You, and make the skull the default you in most of the puzzles. That's all I ask. You know, all I ask is for you to make another entire one of these games, so where I usually get to play as the skull. So we gotta move these babas, we gotta move this baba and this Kiki. We gotta get them out of there. Because of the fact that they're stop, we cannot get the ice underneath them, even if they are float or the ice is float. Which seems like an issue. If we could ever make them simultaneously push, it would make the puzzle trivial. Hold on, we're gonna do the thing. We're learning, we're gonna keep doing this thing. Ice is ice, Baba is Baba, Kiki is Kiki. The only object that is redefinable is nothing, right? It's like the skull and the wall, but we don't have access to two words that would allow us to do that. So none of the objects are changing in this puzzle. Important, good principle to have. Text is float, cannot be teleported by the ice unless you make the ice float, I guess. Unless you make the teleport objects float. Sorry, I should think of it that way. Skull is you, cannot change. Wall is stop, Baba is stop, Kiki is stop, again, cannot be changed. Flag is win, cannot be changed. Kiki, near Kiki is float, ice is push, and ice is telly. These are all of the rules that are actually up for grabs. And text is float, right? No, sorry, the text is always float. Other things being float is also up for grabs. So, they've given us 2 copies of the word Kiki, but only 1 copy of the word Baba, and the copy of the word Baba is in a place where we cannot manipulate its positioning. Well, that's not true. Boy, is that the answer? The other times we've looked at this puzzle, I've been treating Baba as though it's definitely totally stuck. But I can push the ice underneath that, right? Because its float and the ice isn't. The word isn't stop, the word is push. No, okay, you can't do that. We've definitely had things that were push, or that were float on top of teleporters that were not before, but you gotta push the push object onto the other thing, I guess. Okay, so no, we cannot slide the ice under the Baba and then float the ice up to teleport it out. So the word Baba is actually totally trapped. So my initial assumption is that this puzzle is all about finding a way to make Baba is push and Kiki is push simultaneously, which seems not doable because of the position of Baba, right? In order to, like, the easy way to do it would be to get the phrase so long that you end up with the word push in this column, and then you can just make Kiki as push off the top of that. But we've tried that and it doesn't work, right? Like Baba, near, Kiki, I, S, push. Might be helpful to turn on the grid for this one. Yeah, Baba, near, Kiki, I, S, push. Not good enough. Not effective. Is there a way that we can throw another character into that without preventing it from reading as an actual functional statement? Hey, I have a question, actually. Definitions that cannot be true, how do they affect the readability of the rest of the statement? Does it prevent the rest of the statement from processing? Like, if we do a Baba is Kiki, this is not like a super clean way to implement this idea. Okay. Baba is Kiki. I guess we don't even have the words to test this, right? Because, like, Baba is Kiki is push would already not be useful. But the Kiki is push part totally reads. But, like, I'm saying meaning doesn't carry all the way through this statement, right? Like, even under a situation where this was not blocked, this would not translate to Baba is push. So we don't have the ability to throw a contraindicated definition in here in a way that would allow us to apply meaning to the word Baba, I don't think. If we had an and, we could do something like that. Or like a has or something. Actually, no, a has probably wouldn't work. It's really fascinating the way the different operators confer meaning to the different parts of the phrases. And the way that, like, some operators remove meaning when they're added. Like near, for example. Huh, okay. I'm also not 100% clear on why we even have things that can teleport. So probably figuring that out would help, although, again, sometimes there are red herrings. It is not always the case that all of the elements of the puzzle are useful. Sometimes they're there specifically to distract you. I'm wondering if Because, like, this... let me look at the puzzle in its initial position already. Or, again. This being right here is definitely interesting. Right, because that's the location of the push. If we do a Baba near Kiki is push the long way. And I wonder if that is supposed to be hinting something to us. If we were to make it so that Baba is pushed sometimes and Kiki is pushed sometimes, but the word push was teleporting through the floating teleport ice, that wouldn't do anything, right? They must be pushed simultaneously, I think, for it to have any meaning that either of them is push at all. Because if Kiki is push and Baba is not push, the Baba prevents the Kiki from moving, and if Kiki is push, but Baba is not push, the Kiki prevents the push from being applied through to the Baba. It's you know, what it is it's a conundrum. It's a real issue. It's a real issue that I do not have a way of solving. Okay, so what else could we do here? I mean, is it the case that this push thing is the only thing that will work? Can we think of another way that we could get them to move? The fact that they're stop means that if they're float, we still can't enter their space, right? This Kiki, actually that Kiki is not currently float. Now that Kiki is float, and yeah, cannot enter the space. Which means the Kiki cannot be pushed onto the Baba. That will not work. Also, why have we been given an IS instead of a third is? That's significant, right? Just triple checking, you know? I was pretty sure that this wasn't going to work, but we are at the point where it is advantageous to recheck our assumptions. Yeah, why are we given an IS instead of a third is? There's really only two reasons that could be, right? Again, provided that it's significant that it's an IS instead of an is, which it might not be, it could be a red herring. But if it's an IS instead of an is for a significant reason, that reason is either spacing, reason one would be spacing, that allows a thing to be one space further out than it otherwise would be, or to make it so that you can't use it in two directions at once, right? Because you can build two statements simultaneously off of one is, but you can't do that with an IS. So maybe it becomes significant that we can't use all three of them to do cross formations. Maybe. If we tried to do this with... I mean, like, this is nothing, right? Baba is push. The simple Baba is push gives us no options at all. Apologies. Now I'm in the place where I feel like I gotta double check all of my assumptions. The simple Baba is push allows us to build Kiki is something off of it more easily, but it doesn't allow us to build anything that's relevant. And we still don't have access to the push. Wall is stop, which prevents us from using the ice to teleport any portion of the wall away. I suppose that's a thing. If there was some way to move part of the wall, that would make the puzzle pretty doable. But it does look like that is not an option we have. Okay. I have thus far been assuming that the near only matters for spacing reasons, but maybe that's not the case. Maybe it's like Kiki near ice or ice near Kiki does something? Because we have all these abilities to make things conditionally meaningful, and I don't see what we would do with them, but they do seem important. From a structural standpoint, why give me a near? If we made ice near Kiki is float or ice near Kiki is telly, while also ice is push, that gives us the ability to turn on and off the float or telly capacities. Why would we want to do that? How would it be helpful to do that? I mean, honestly, it doesn't feel like it would. It doesn't feel useful. Is there some kind of way to use... I'm thinking about objects that are push. And if there's some way for us to get under... No, there's not. It's just like, if we could get under the Kiki, then we would only need the Baba to be push. Right? And we could just walk. But I don't think there's no shenanigans way to get an object under that Kiki. Stop is pretty serious. The only thing that really contravenes stop is open and shut, right? How would we... Alright, I'm gonna... There's one other one in here, right? In the ABC world. I don't know if we're gonna spend the whole rest of the episode in ABC, but we might. We're getting to the point now, I think, where the easy puzzles are maybe over. Okay. We did it, everyone. Got it. Got it in one. Okay, we can spell the word ghost. We can spell grass and hot, obviously. We can spell... Boy, what other words can we spell here that we use sometimes? Well, what else do we... Also, what do we need to do? Me is move and push. Right now, the me is just walking back and forth in this one space. It tries to go down, and the belt rebuffs it upward. Hold on. Doing this wrong. We're learning. Grass is hot. Baba is you. Well, where's my win? My win is a flag. We got the word flag over here. Belt is not flag, it turns out. Wouldn't that be nice? So we don't have a win. We gotta get a flag from somewhere. Oh, we can spell the word star, and there's a star right there. And we do have a fall here. Interesting. Okay. Grass is hot, which is pretty garbage. There's not even any grass. Baba is you, skull is defeat. Those are a little bit more important. The belt is shift, which is having some obvious important implications right now, and it's in a position where we can't change it. Baba is melt. Baba is melt, grass is hot. Okay, I guess maybe grass is hot ends up mattering a little bit. Grass is grass as well. There is no grass on the... Oh no, there is a space of grass. And it is preventing us from breaking Baba is melt. But obviously, like, it's trivial to just make grass no longer hot and then move this. One wonders if it's important that Baba is melt for some reason, or like, why even make me do this? Very strange. Ghost is ghost, ghost is stop. They definitely intend for you to make a ghost, or at least for you to think that you need to make a ghost. Wall is stop, you know, what else is new? Belt is not flag, no using the easy solution. Me is move, me is push, pretty strange, and flag is win. For what reason does this whole thing even exist? I guess it's so that if you ever disable the existence of the belt, you lose immediately, or rather it becomes impossible to win. I suppose there's a possibility there, though, that if we disabled the belt somehow, we could just... Maybe there's a way to make the me... Because it's going to push the word is down to here, right? But maybe there's a way to make the me then also move flag and win. I guess the only way to do that really would be to take control of it, which we probably can't do because the only U is up here. It does seem, though, we have very few objects, right? Baba is melt, so we have this grass, but we can't turn the grass into anything. We could, in theory, turn the star into a flag. To do so, we'd have to get the star down here. And the existence of the fall certainly suggests that you make the star fall down to there. You'd have to break belt as shift for that to work the way you want it to. Which you can't do. Because otherwise, obviously, the star's just going to fall straight through. You can't make belt as stop. We can't spell stop. How would we make it so that the star is even accessible to us then? Yeah, it's interesting, man. Oh, okay, hold on. If Baba is fall, Is it possible for this... Can we fall through a thing that's defeat? Because you kind of, when you fall, you go from the space that you were in. If we were to press left here, I think we would just end up in this space without actually stopping there, and so we wouldn't get defeated. So if we made the star fall and then we made the Baba fall somehow, although we can't do that because we can't move the definition of Baba. In theory, that would work. Again, probably can't do it. I feel like I've never even actually given this level a try. So this is probably a good place to spend a little bit of time here. This construction is so strange, though. It doesn't look like there is a way to stop the belt from being shift. Well, I guess, okay, we can redefine belt, though. We can't make it flag, but we could make it something else. Ghost is stop. If we made the belt ghost, then that's how the star falls down and doesn't get caught. Or rather, does get caught, which is way more important than doesn't get caught. So we go like, belt is ghost. And then... what? We have to make star is flag and flag is fall? And does that not just solve it? Oh, no, sorry. You gotta make flag is fall first. Hey, that seems like not a thing you can do. Right? Doesn't that seem like an issue? They kind of have to happen simultaneously. Okay. Star is flag. Let's do star is flag real quick. That seems like a thing that definitely needs to happen, and also like a thing that totally can happen safely. I think we have no weird consequences from star is flag. So now you want flag is fall, and you also want belt is ghost during the fall. Belt must be ghost when the fall actually happens. That's a problem. Because if belt is ghost by the time the fall happens, if belt is ghost before the fall happens, belt makes the fall impossible. So, like, one way we could fix that we need to have these words in place, but like what I was thinking is we could set the word flag here with some kind of filler thing there that has no meaning, just so that the word flag doesn't get moved over. We could build belt is GHOS here, have the T there, and have enough objects in place with the is right here that when we press the T upward, it shoves all the objects up by one space, creates flag as fall at the same time that belt becomes ghost. And in theory, that would work. Do we have enough objects? We have an S, an A, and an R, and I think that might be exactly enough. Hold on, let's not put this here yet. Let me try to actually build this situation. Because we do need this T. So the deal is you have to have just some kind of letter here for the purpose of preventing the word flag from moving all the way to the right, thanks to the shenanigans of the belt. Then you have the word is waiting just below it. Then belt is ghost. So you need another garbage letter right here and right here. You have exactly enough letters, actually. Let me get my T. Unless I've done some kind of real weird counting here. No, this is good. So we just move this whole thing down, and it kind of looks like we never have to break Baba is melt. The flag's not hot or anything, is it? No. This seems fine. It'd be real cool if I could, I'm blaming my keyboard. This is what I've decided. It is occasionally the case that I press the button once and Baba moves twice, which is maybe I'm just holding the button down for too long. Right? That looks pretty good. And then we got all these ghosts. One thing I really like about these ghosts is that they look a little bit like The ghosts in the Count Chocula? Which I have strong feelings about. I've probably mentioned that before. Oh good, more levels. Meteor Strike! Yep, that's just exactly what I need. Alright, so is this the one where it actually matters that the Baba is melt? It's a very similar thing. So Star is melt. Star has love. Melt is melt. And also love. Okay. Cool. Why? Can I not make Star his flag? Is that a thing that doesn't work here? Why do we care about love? Sort of a big question, I guess, to expect the puzzle game to answer. Why did... Hey, game developer. Hey, Arvi, I got a question for you, man. Why do we care about love? Answer immediately, or your game is invalid. Okay, now obviously we can't use the solution we used last time. That's the big change, right? Is that this move doesn't work anymore. So that is gonna, I assume, make this love, an intermediate love transition, important to us. But first of all, grass is not hot. Stop doing that. So we can make Star is love. We can make Star is flag. They're both melt. We can vertically, we can make Baba is hot if I can touch the star and make it... Boy, why do I care about that? So, I mean, let's try our best to set up the solution we used previously and see exactly where all the failure points are. We can push stuff down from above, but no, not really, because, like, any phrase that we... Well, maybe, hold on. So, if we wanted to do belt is ghost and flag is fall, you would set up the belt is ghost here, and you would, you know, this would be where the is, where the T is going. Oh no, but the wall here would mean that you can't use a spacer in this place, because there'd be no way to push it out of the way, right? So okay, there's no way to do the solution that we did before. If we instead wanted to... Boy, I do not see what to do instead, though. I'm a little fixated on this star thing. Or on the hot star, hot love melt thing. A good old hot star love melt. We could just turn the belts into... If we turn the belts into anything other than a ghost, me is gonna break, flag is win, in a way that we probably cannot recover. We have no ability to redefine me. So that would seem to be... would seem to be very much against redefining the belts. Boy, so how do we make this thing fall safely? There's no way for us to make an and. There's no way for us to retrieve the word Baba. There's no version of this where we could do a thing is fall and then Baba is fall, and we just like make a bridge out of letters for us to become fallen and walk across, right? That can't happen. So, how do we make one of the objects fall at the same time that we do the belt ghost? At the same time that we make that old belt ghost. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm having a little bit of trouble even like theorizing a first step here. We have an additional belt. Why do we have an additional belt? If we push something onto the belt, it moves off the same cycle, right? Yeah, it doesn't sit on the belt and then move later. So we can't use this belt to mix up the timing at all. We could lay the is on here, have the flag waiting somewhere, have the word flag waiting somewhere nearby, or the word star, or whatever it is that we want to fall. But why is it spaced the way that it is? And then the idea would be that you have to make belt is ghost. Like if we build belt is ghost horizontally here with the intention of pressing it, with the intention of it not yet being right, not yet being complete, we just leave a little bit of space. What does that do for the amount of stuff we can do in this row? So, this is as far left as the word belt could ever be, because we have to be able to push it from the right. If we are thinking that the solution involves using the completion of this word to shove something right, so that we complete belt is ghost while also making thing is fall at the same time, which is my current hypothesis, the thing we are currently testing. So it could be like this is placed here so that it's awkward to do this, I think. This is about breaking up the words. Because otherwise you could have, flag is fall, and you could just complete... Well, no, actually, you couldn't, because you would make belt is ghost... You would complete belt is ghost one cycle before you would make flag is fall. So even if the belt wasn't here, that still wouldn't work. Alright, ghost is stop, wall is stop. Nothing else is stop. I'm trying to figure out, how the melt and hot part of this puzzle is actually helpful. Okay, I do have one question. I'm a little curious about something. Let's test something. Let's say... Can I do this? No. Shoot. I was gonna try to do star is fall while ghost is hot. Or, while belt is hot. But we have to turn the star into something else first, because I need the T for hot. I'm just gonna double check my thinking. So we're gonna do star is flag. Just gonna double check my thinking and make sure that a hot object falling past a melt object falling past a hot thing does not immediately get vaporized. My suspicion is that it will complete its fall before any of its qualities are checked. Let's find out. Okay, star is flag. No, wait, star is... It would be better... It needs to be star is love, because it has to be something that is melt. For the science. Okay. Now... that's not a good way to do that. Now we do love is fall while belt is hot. Like I said, I'm expecting that the result we're gonna get here is the heart falls to here unmolested by the incredible heat of this belt. But if that's not the case, it could be part of the solution, right? So we should find out. Yes, okay. Things do not get quality checked while they are mid-fall. Don't know if that's going to end up being relevant, but it was worth knowing. Everything is worth knowing, unless you live in an H.P. Lovecraft story, in which case there are some things you should definitely try not to know. Baba is the only thing that is you. So it's pretty important that the Baba, we not use this Baba is to redefine Baba into a new noun. But I wonder, why do they even give us this? Why is this here? Let's make the grass not hot. Let's break this. We don't have any qualities, right? We don't have any other adjectives in this area except for fall, which cannot be retrieved. And we cannot spell any qualities because obviously they would have to fit into a single space. So why the hell is that even there? What is the meaning of this? Seems really strange, right? Yeah, I don't see a way that it could be used. Star has love. Doesn't let you, like, I'm wondering if it would be a thing where, like, you would temporarily un-Baba. You turn Baba into something else temporarily, and then that thing would later become Baba again in some way is the only way we could possibly use it. Because again, Baba is you, and Baba is the only thing that can ever be you, the way the puzzle is assembled. So this puzzle just has a tremendous number of red herrings, it feels like. I mean, that was certainly the case with the previous version of it. Graz is shot. Got him. Shot's not a thing, right? I can't like make something move violently by declaring it shot. Okay. I was pretty sure. Hopefully they're not going to ask us to discover a new word that's not been used before during this puzzle, with all of our ability to spell things. We're going to figure out the solution, and it's going to require Baba to still be melt, and I'm going to have to go back and rebuild it all afterward. What is... Okay, so... Whatever solution, it feels like it's still going to require us to make this object fall onto a thing that is stop. Or is there any way? Is there anything else that we could set up? Is there a way that the object could be anything? The object below it could be anything other than stop, and that would be no. Like it would have to be either stop or push, right? Yeah, I think so. Okay. So we still have to make a fall happen. We still have to make the thing below that stop, and presumably they have to happen at the same time because it's still the case that this is a belt and that is a belt. If we make it so the belt is hot, no, that's not going to do anything. I was trying to figure out, like, with the positions of the belts like this, is there a way that we could use the belts to... Hold on. Let me just play around a little bit here. It doesn't really matter what this is as long as it's not something that has meaning. I just want to play with some objects. Is there a way to use the belts to buy myself a cycle? Is the question, right? And the answer is yes. If you use the shift of an object to push another object onto a thing that is shift, it doesn't get shifted until the next cycle. If we had another word here. So I press this over. That's going to cause the thing to become true instantly. How do we make use of that? Because if we have a single cycle between the moment when we execute the push that will make flag is fall true and the flag is fall actually becoming true. If there's a 1 cycle delay, then we can use that delay to do something. We can use that delay to, like, we can make belt is ghost here and just have the T right there. We can execute that push and then next cycle make belt is ghost become true as the shift happens, and that would solve it. But the problem is that the way things are spaced right now, obviously we have this issue where if I push another word onto the belt, it does give us that break that we need, right, where it's 1 cycle before everything shifts all the way over, but it won't actually complete the phrase afterward. And if we use one more object to allow us to push the word flag as far as it needs to go, pushing the second object does in fact immediately complete the phrase. So we wouldn't be able to execute a push to the right and then execute a push upward. The fact that we've found a way to give ourselves a little bit of a timing window feels really significant to me. But I cannot guarantee it is actually part of any solution. Is there any way that we can actually use that timing window to complete the phrase flag is fall? The answer to that is no, right? Yeah, the answer to that is no. It's a bummer, man. I felt like I was onto something there. I'm pretty sure there's no way because of the way things are spaced, because of the fact that that there's not a third belt here. If there were a third belt here, or if there was even like a second belt here, I think we could do it. Right, because we could create a similar spacing thing such that these belts push an object. You know, these belts have a 1 cycle delay in pushing the word flag over. Having 1 extra belt would be super helpful. If we made the grass into a belt, what direction is that grass facing? Here's the thing we've never had to wonder before. What direction is my grass facing? Just out of curiosity. I don't know that it's gonna matter, but... Oh, right, grass is grass. It probably wouldn't have mattered either way because we can't move the grass. But if it was another belt and we had a way to move a belt and we can move it into this row, there are ways that we could abuse that little 1 space timing window that we've figured out in order to make this a little bit more doable. There's probably a way to just use the thing I've found to complete something. I just don't see what it would be. This one is definitely something to think about. I see that we're getting pretty close to the hour here. Let me go back into queue. We'll take a moment here and work on this again, and then we'll call it there. I totally forgot that there's a level between the Skyflower and Meta. I don't remember what any of the levels up there are like, and there's a whole bunch of them that we have to complete, right? Like, we basically didn't do any of the levels that are inside the objects. That's gonna be a that's gonna be a time. That's gonna be a fun journey. We'll get there. You know, don't worry about that right now. That's next week SB's problem. Alright, this thing. Why do we even want anything to be telly? How is it helpful? It's like a really good question, actually. Why is that helpful? How is that good? One thing you can do with tellies is you can make it is with the is, and you can have the telly under the s and have the other one here, and it could like you have two statements flipping on and off conditionally in that way. That's alternating rather, just toggling between the two statements. That's kind of neat. Is that useful? If we did like Baba is something, and we do another thing, like this wall is set up in such a way that it would allow you to put something north of the I. Ooh. Baba is... But the thing is, like, all you ever want anything to be is push. How is it helpful for anything to toggle on and off? The more I look at this, the more I think that this puzzle, the problem we're having here, is probably not one of me not seeing how to do the thing we want, but more one of me not realizing that we can do something that is critical to the puzzle. This is one of those things where the more I look at the structure of this, the shape of it, the more I think this is an issue of me not all the way understanding one of the properties. We're gonna realize that, like, you can push a float thing past a non-floating stop thing in certain conditions or something like that, you know? That's what I'm feeling like right now. So this might just benefit from a little bit of weird experimentation, just like do stuff for a while. Alright, hey, what about making multiple objects telly? If we made Ice is telly and Baba is telly and Kiki is telly... Well, no. Because I think what we learned about multiple objects being telly is that things will only teleport to other objects of the same type that are telly, right? So it doesn't actually... Also, it wouldn't mean anything for Baba or Kiki to be telly because you can't occupy the same space as them, right? Let's just play with it. Let's do a little bit of play, shall we? Alright, what if Kiki was telly while the ice was telly? Right, I'll only ever teleport between the two ices. Okay. But what if at the same time, ice was float? Wouldn't that be cool? Right, I'm not float. Okay, hey, we could use telly to mess with the near, right? We could have a thing be teleporting back and forth, and that way every cycle it would toggle whether one object was near another object. Is that useful? No, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. Shit, man. I cannot figure this puzzle out. It's driving me a little bit crazy. I don't know why this one bothers me so much. If the ice is near the Baba and the Kiki... Nope, that's not what I wanted. Go over one more. Check it out. Now it's near them. Then Baba near ice... You know what I don't think we've ever had an opportunity to find out, actually, is if you have two things that are telly, but they're both unique. Like in this situation, if the Baba and the Kiki weren't stop, and you did Baba is telly and Kiki is telly, would you teleport between them because they're the only two objects that are telly? Or does telly always only take you to things that are the same as the thing you stepped on? What I'm saying is, if I'm right that this is about me not fully understanding one of the qualities, telly is the one that I think I understand the least. So this might be a thing where like I'm missing something about Telly that makes the solution make sense. This is maybe a very good one for extended off-screen experimentation as I just sort of bumble around. How would I make, it is a little tricky given the positions of things here to make both Baba and Kiki Telly at the same time. Because obviously, if we could easily make them Telly at the same time, then we could instead just make them push at the same time and it would solve the puzzle. And obviously, there's no way to deal with them being stop anyway, so it's not like I could test it here. But it is a curious thing to think about. Baba near ice is... Baba near ice is Kiki is Telly. No, that's not a thing. The thing about that is it's not a thing. I mean, it would not be meaningful for them to alternate being push, right? I'm like very 100% sure of that, and we're gonna test it anyway, because like I keep saying, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So like, we could test that by putting the ice here. We're just gonna play with the one idea of the teleporting is. Not even because I think it's useful, but because I think it will be fun to watch it happen. Oh, the ice is still push. I broke ice's Telly, but not ice's push. That's a pretty important one to break. Right, so if we do... How did I think this was going to help? I don't know, man. This isn't what I need to be doing. I need to be doing... this has to be a normal is for us to test this, right? Now I really want the solution to involve me changing the orientation of the word is over and over again, just because I think it'll look really cool if we do it. Alright, so we do... These dudes is push... And the ice is Telly and float. Because, like, this is one of those things where if I misunderstood this, if I didn't think that this worked, while it did work, it would make the puzzle impossible to solve. My misunderstanding would make the puzzle impossible to solve, but also, the puzzle would be, like, very trivial, so it's hard to imagine that this is right. Hey, what a surprise. Me holding down is accomplishing nothing. Okay. I just had to be sure. It was a thing I hadn't actually tested yet, and very much a thing where I might be making a real fool of myself. Alright, I think that is probably where we have to call it for today. I am a little bit out of time. I'm gonna figure this out. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play around with this one quite a bit in the time between now and the next episode. My guess is the core issue here is that I don't really understand Telly enough. So I'm gonna devise experiments and play with Telly, and I'm gonna figure something out. Maybe this is a bad idea, but I'm committing right now. I'm gonna come back to you on Monday with some kind of insight about how this puzzle works. And if I can't, then I'm gonna come back to you on Monday very embarrassed instead. So, suspense. Which one of those things is gonna happen? I guess you'll have to tune in Monday to find out. We'll see you then.